do it during QA time. Just grab it, since we're going to have kind of set QA time. Just grab it.
I can take this one off.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Whatever works easiest for y'all. Do one more blues and see if I can't find everybody out.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Woo-hoo. TGIF, we made it. Very exciting. How's everybody feeling? Is everybody awake and ready? Did folks have a good time if they came to the awards gala last night? Woo-hoo. So great. A huge plug for Raymond. Make sure you say thank you to him because it's always really hard to be the first one to do something. And he pulled that whole entire event together last night and conceived of the whole thing. So a big thank you to him when you see him. Welcome to one of the last sessions of what I think has been a really successful and informative conference. Really excited to be here with this really great panel to talk about multifamily housing, specifically scaling weatherization, and how do we do it? So who in here currently works on multifamily within their either portfolio? Okay, yeah, well, like almost everybody, I feel like. Who works either at a subgrantee or a state that does not touch any multifamily, anything over 4 units? Okay, a few people. So I hope that this session will really give you some insight into what works well. I'm Samantha Pierce, for those of you that don't know me. I am the Vice President of Sustainability in New York State's Housing Finance Agency. Obviously, my team deploys weatherization, which is why I'm standing here. And in New York State, I think no surprise, we've been pretty well known for being the leader in multifamily space, I think, for some time. Hopefully that crown can now be supplanted on somebody else and they can take it because it's too much pressure. But we have a really big budget every year, both with our weatherization and our heat funds. Just to sort of give some scale, we typically do between 6,500, oh, somebody's messaging somebody. We typically do between 6,500 and 7,500 units with our regular formula allocation a year, and about 60% of those on average are usually multifamily housing. So it's a large portion of what we do, and that doesn't happen overnight. And so really excited to sort of hear from some folks that are figuring out, both in support of NASCAS and some of the work that Ryan's been doing, really to hear how you get it started. I'm always happy to talk about how we do things, but I think a lot of times there's a big disconnect between how you get to where we're at in New York after having done multifamily housing for decades at this point, to how do you get started, or how do you scale up something where maybe there's only one sub-grantee in your network that's currently doing multifamily housing, and how do you encourage and get other sub-grantees or other contractors interested, skilled, and able to deploy work in multifamily housing. We know there's quite a bit of variety to what we call multifamily housing. It's obviously anything over 4 units, so 5+ units is the definition that we work with in this program. That means you could be talking about a mansion converted to apartments, you could be talking about row houses, you could be talking about garden-style apartments, you could be talking about mid-rise, we call pre-war, post-war, high-rise, low-rise, right? There's all different types. And so hopefully today you'll hear a little bit from these two really skilled individuals about what that all looks like and how to get started and how to, again, leverage the priority list as a potential opening point. And added bonus, because these individuals are so smart and capable about talking about what you're doing, at the end of today, you'll be able to get some credit. So make sure you stick around for the end so you can scan that code and get those credits if you might need them. I'm going to turn things over to Ryan, let him introduce himself, and please welcome him to the stage.
I'm actually going to let Jason introduce himself first. Hello? It should be on. So, my name is Jason Foy. I'm the Weatherization Housing Director at Tri-County Community Action Partnership. I've worked in weatherization for about 9.5 years. My 10th year will be in July.
And I'm Ryan Harry. I've worked with a number of you before, some very, very close in Colorado. I worked in Colorado, the grantee office for over 8 years, and a little while in the sub-grantee office, and then I've been a consultant for the last few years. So I've got about 12 years in weatherization from a variety of perspectives, and so hopefully some of that I'm able to share today. The other thing that I do is I facilitate NASCASP's multifamily working group. And so for any of you that are interested in learning more, and especially sharing your information and working on your programs kind of in real time, we meet every second Tuesday of the month. And so there's an opportunity there for you to join. And, talk to me afterwards. Talk to any of the NASCAS folk as well. They can help you out and get you on that list. So I'm going to set the stage a little bit here again. These are some of the benefits and challenges that have come up during that multifamily working group, and then Jason's going to go and really get into the nitty-gritty because he's the guy that actually does this stuff. I just talk about it sometimes. And so, the benefits of multifamily, there's a bunch of them, right? And the main one is you're able to reach more clients and more units at one point in time. And so you have that efficiency of scale. You're able to get into buildings and do 5 or more units at a time. Through that you get a lower ACPU, you close more jobs, you can spend money more quickly, and doing the assessments, the audits, you can speed that up a little bit as well as you're doing sample audits instead of having to go through every single unit, some of these larger projects. And then certainly engaging with the clients is important. We're able to engage with clients we might not necessarily be able to work with in the single family space. Clients that might have low enough incomes that they're not able to rent or own single family homes. So making sure that we're able to really engage with everybody that we possibly can. And with the ability to improve existing housing stock as well, and making that existing housing stock more comfortable, more affordable for the people that are living there, but also for the property owners and managers, improving their housing stock so they can keep it around for longer, and keeping that affordable housing available instead of tearing it down and then building something new. Of course, there are challenges that come with it. So from the starting point as you're building your program, and this is somewhat from that priority list perspective, right? We're trying to get that DOE approval for the priority list, but think of it as DOE approval as well for the general, larger multifamily portion of this as well. Getting that sub-grantee buy-in, making sure that your sub-grantees are engaged in this and that you're providing them with the proper support to be able to successfully complete multifamily projects. Identifying potential projects, so that's the process of going through and figuring out, working with your sub-grantees of which projects within their, or which properties within their service territories can be done, but also there are resources out there, like the HUD list. I think if you go to the WPN website, just search for HUD, it'll come up. I think it's Memo 109, and then the USDA list as well. I think it's 25.4, but if you search in USDA, it'll pop up as well. So these lists of pre-approved or almost pre-approved properties that you can go through. And being able to take those lists and condense them and sort them in a way that you can get your sub-grantees running more quickly is helpful. And then once you identify those projects, making sure that you're able to get in touch with the property owners and managers, making sure that you're able to talk with the decision makers can be challenging. Getting to yes and having a process to do that. And then once you're into the project, doing all those activities prior to the core weatherization work, any type of deferral remediation that needs to be done. And then once you start the work, it is different than a single family home because you're doing multiple units at once. You're with buildings, and so having the logistics in place to work with the clients and work with the property owners to carry off the project. And then think about scale. Always think about scale. How are you taking your first project and making it, building that capacity to do larger projects down the road. And then, of course, if you're using IIJA funds, giving Davis-Bacon consideration and following those regulations. This is especially Important to consider LCP tracker and the steps with that. And I think maybe one of the biggest challenges of that is figuring out those wages on SAM.gov. And as you create your statements of work for your projects, matching those wages that are on there with the weatherization work that needs to be done. So you can take those to bid and have kind of a one-to-one relationship when you need to have that information submitted to DOE rather than trying to reinvent the wheel around wages and getting new wages approved and all that. So do yourself a favor and try to streamline that as much as possible. Priority list approval. So you being able to use priority lists, these lists that DOE has created for multifamily, and being able to go in and use that kind of punch list style audit instead of doing a full energy model for those buildings. And for multifamily, there's 3 of them available based on the climate that you're in, hot, moderate, and cold. And these are listed in WPN 22.8, but you do need to make a formal application to DOE. You have to have policy and procedure around your audit and QCI process, and you have to select the climate regions that are going to be served. The other WPN that can help with this one is the audit procedure WPN. I think it's 23.6. Yeah. Yeah. I believe it's 23.6, which we'll talk more about general audit approval procedure via DOE. Also consider